is a series of events, each caused by the previous one. This week we want to focus on the idea that a kind deed will create a chain reaction of more kindness.
We want to first illustrate this for you by reading this book, Ordinary Mary's Extraordinary Deed by Emily Pearson.
Ordinary Mary was so very ordinary that you'd never guess she could change the world. This ordinary kid, she did. She changed the world.
One ordinary day, skipping on her way from her ordinary school to her ordinary house, she passed an ordinary vacant lot filled with ordinary bushes, growing ordinary berries, ordinary blue and juicy, luscious, lovely berries.
Well, ordinary Mary picked the ordinary berries and brought them in a big brown bowl to Mrs. Bishop's porch. What left berries in a big brown bowl on Mrs. Bishop's porch? That sneaky kid. She did. This made Mrs. Bishop very, very happy. So she baked a big batch of blueberry muffins, and she thought of 5 people who might have brought those beautiful berries, then secretly gave each a plate. How great! 5 people got a plate.
One of those 5 was her paper boy, Billy Parker, and when Billy saw his name on a note in the driveway on a plate, he quickly parked his bike and ate every crumb. Oh, yum, yum, yum. He ate every crumb. This made him so glad that the next 5 people got their papers on the porch and not in the bushes, where he often threw them in. In fact, they were handed right to them on. One of those 5 was Mr. Stevens, who was so amazed that he smiled for 10 hours on the airplane, then said to 5 different people who had heavy bags, "Here, let me help you." He still smiled, and they did too.
One of those 5 was Maria, whose cranky little boy James stopped crying when Mrs. Stevens played peekaboo with him until their ride came. When he waved goodbye, Maria exclaimed, "How strange that a stranger would be so sweet." And the next day, when she was out shopping once, twice, 5 times, she did something nice for 5 different people 5 times without stopping. One of those 5 was Joseph, old and bent and gray, in front of her in line at the produce stand. When he said, "I guess I counted wrong. I don't really need these oranges," little James reached out to him with an orange from their basket, and Maria put a coin in Joseph's hand, and said, "Here, take this. The oranges are on us." As Joseph shuffled to the bus, his heart was full and his eyes were wet, and his hands did helpful things for the next 5 people he met. One of those 5 was Sarah, a college girl who was off to see the world and stopped at Joseph's shop. When her bag broke and her things fell all over the floor, she said, "Oh, what will I do?" Joseph said, "This is for you," and he gave her a new bag woven with his own hands in red and purple and green. "Oh, thank you," she said. "It's the loveliest bag I've ever seen." When Sarah left, she felt sunny as noon, and she just had to shine on 5 people's days.
One of those 5 was Sophie, whom she met on a boat. Looked like the world might end. Looked like someone without a friend. What beautiful blue eyes you have, Sarah said, "and they're the color of your flower's little dress." "Yes?" "Yes," said Sophie. "Oh, yes," said Sarah. The beautiful blue eyes, she did happy tears when the boat trip was through. Sophie called 5 people to make her happy too. One of those 5 was Tom, her son, the doctor, who was having a very hard day. "Hi," she said. "I love you, Tom." "Well, how Well, how great it is to hear your voice, he said. I always need my mom. Dr. Tom was so cheered up that on his next break he bought 5 bunches of balloons for 5 young patients, and he handed them right out there.
One of those 5 was Peter, a little boy who went home from the hospital that very day. Gratitude for a bunch of the bread balloons filled him and thrilled him and spoke him out onto the next 5 people who came in his way. One of those 5 was Eric, a teenage boy whose sacks and such was way too much to walk. When Peter dropped him on the sidewalk, Peter stopped his play and rushed over to the saying, "Superheroes to the rescue." Well, Eric no longer stressed. He was very impressed and made a mental note that very afternoon to help his people, and did it soon.
One of those 5 was Dee, his 10-year-old sister who didn't have many friends and was painfully shy. When Eric said, "Hey sis, want to come to the park and learn how to ride my skateboard?" she looked at him wide-eyed. "Serious?" she cried. "Sure," he said. And because of her brother, Dee decided maybe she could be a friend to another 5 others.
One of those 5 was Louise, a homeless woman who lived under the trees. She could hardly believe her ears when she heard Di say, "May my brother and I buy you a hot dog and a drink at that stand over there?" Could it be true? Someone actually cared enough to give her food in a smiley-faced ring that was practically new? Louise was so pleased that she decided that even though she had almost nothing, she would find 5 others and give them something. One of those 5 was Mr. Taylor, who lost his wallet in the park. Louise found it, and full of 5s and 10s and 20s. Oh, what she could do with all that money! But she found his name and called him his home, and over he came. He was so impressed that she was honest in spite of being poor, that he offered her a job in his store and vowed to do something generous for 5 people more.
One of those 5 was Kate, a woman on vacation who wanted to see a show she'd heard was a sensation. "Oh no," she said, "it's sold out, but I'm going home tomorrow." And her face filled with sorrow. Mr. Taylor held out his ticket. "I live here," he said. "I can go anytime. Take mine." Kate loved the show, and she was so touched that she thought buying 5 presents for 5 people back home would really be fun. And one of those 5 presents was a little heart necklace for Mary, her niece, and you should have seen her eyes light up in surprise. "Mary, what? Ordinary Mary?" Yes, ordinary Mary's extraordinary deed had come full circle, and on its way it changed the lives of every person living. You see, when Mrs. Bishop made muffins for Mary's butterflies, not only the paper boy, Billy Parker, but the other 4 people too made 5 people smile, and those 5 didn't too. And after a while, in only 15 days, love was sent to every person, everywhere. Just see how it went. See, it goes from ordinary Mary to 6,103,515,625 people. Well, 6 billion is
even more than all of the people on the planet. So after everyone had a share and everybody knew that somebody cared, there was even love left over. The world was changed, and thousands and millions and billions agreed it was all because one ordinary day. Ordinary Mary did a perfectly ordinary, stunningly earth-shaking, totally extraordinary deed. The end.
You can see that Ordinary Mary changed the entire world by doing one kind deed.
We have some fun activities planned for this week.
Tomorrow we will give you blueberry muffins to remind you of Ordinary Mary's extraordinary deed.
Wednesday, we'll be playing a Pass It On Kindness game where we will be passing kind cards around the school throughout the day.
Thursday, kindergarten through 3rd grade will have another video assembly, and 4th through 8th grades will have an in-person assembly sponsored by Save UT.
And then Friday, if it all goes to plan, the cereal boxes we have been collecting will be used to create one final chain reaction of our own.
A chain reaction, a huge domino chain by bringing as many cereal boxes as we can by Friday morning. Remember, we'll have to use boxes to make it work. Student Rachel Joy Scott, a victim of a school shooting, was quoted as saying, "I have this theory that if one person can go out of the way to show compassion, then it will start a chain reaction of the same. People will never know how far a little kindness can go."
Let's live out Rachel's dream by spreading kindness this week.
Also, don't forget to bring those cereal boxes for the largest chain reaction we can make. Those will also be donated to the local food bank as our final act of kindness for the week.
Remember the great Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that."
Let's spend the week changing the world, just like the Ordinary Mary.
We've started our kindness thing off too soon by hiding some things within your room. With your teacher's permission, you can go look. Find the kindness that's come from my book.